what people don't tell you is the hiring piece of it, which also
Yeah.
leads to the firing piece of it,
Yeah.
which also leads to how fast you can throttle, right? So your people really are, as CEO, you can have the biggest vision ever, but if you don't have people to execute on it, the vision's nothing, right? So I would say for me, that was the biggest surprise I had when I took over, is because I tend to move fast. My
Yeah.
entire team is like, Carrie, you gotta slow down. I'm like, or you can keep up, right? So, or we can meet in the middle, right? And I always say it's a marathon, so we can pace ourselves, but we don't have to pace ourselves at 50 minutes. We can pace ourselves at 8 minutes. So, um, it's a constant struggle, Albert. But I also tell them you don't have to be on Slack 6 hours a day. You can shut down, get quiet time. We all now have so much distraction, albeit electronically. But um, but I do think getting the right people on the bus is really what makes a successful company.
Yeah, especially when you're breaking ground in something that maybe doesn't exist. Um, how do you hire for something that doesn't exist? We've heard it time and time again from different leaders. They look for just insatiable curiosity, probably a desire to constantly build and try things. If you're like, they always talk about how if you have someone who just wants a big paycheck and they want to do a job, that's probably not going to help you innovate, because they're not going to feel comfortable making things that don't work and then fixing it constantly, which is what it takes to innovate.
Hmm.
For yourself, what kind of characteristics do you look for in people to say like, hey, these are the people that are going to help move Simple Health in the right direction?
I try and count three things that they're going to tell me that I had no idea about, right? Like, because if they're telling me everything I know, that's a waste of use of capital because I already know it, right? Like, I'm hiring for my deficits. And
Yeah.
so I'll talk about like the CTO I just hired, for example. Um, she did a case study, like, she had multiple rounds. She met the team, she had a case study, but then we met in person. And this is going to come down to be truly trite and simplistic, but when you meet someone in person, and we had a meal, and you talk about ideas and values, and I don't think people talk about values enough. That's when I realized I can feel comfortable with this person building the tech platform because she hears what I'm saying, she understands the vision, and she has a background that she can execute. And she's also talking to me about stuff I have no idea what she's talking about, but it sounds really great. And so I look for thought partners. I mean, I look in senior leaders. At this level, if you've done what you've done, your resume looks great. It's, to me, it's the small stuff that really I look for, Albert. Um, Values, how you talk to waiters, all these little things. Because how you talk to people like that will be how you talk to your employees. It's through and through. I've tried this time and time again, and so I also, again, coming back to that gut, last year I ignored that gut, and every one of those people who I ignored with that gut are no longer with us, right? So
Mm.
I'm really focused now on like taking my time, being intentional, asking tough questions. And if I carry that questions down, well, then I know my answer in them as a candidate. So those are things that are really important. The last thing that's super duper important to me is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So how they think about that, how they approach that, it's amazing what you learn from people when you talk about this, right? People sometimes shy
Mm.
away from it, people lean in. It's very easy to say, yeah, I'll build diverse teams, but the hard thing is how do you have those people belong and feel part of the team, right? So those are things I think about. I'm very proud to say our company is probably, I want to say, I think it's like 60% plus female. We're about like 45% people of color, 45% LGBTQIA plus. And that, none of that was like, a strategy. It just was like, those are the best people, but it's also a network effect, right?
Yeah.
Um, the ironic part is people want to work for a woman of color who's also disabled. They find that very intriguing. They find that a unicorn. I've had people that have tell me that since they've come to Simple Health, they've stopped code switching, which I didn't know was a thing. Or
What's code switching?
as a Black person, like trying to assimilate versus just trying to be
Oh.
themselves. And so I encourage people to truly bring their authentic selves to work. And that's how we've been able, I think, to your point, Albert, and the vision, the mission, when you get people who really believe in their leader and who want to make their leader look better, the engine moves quicker, right? So I just
Yeah.
think it's a whole equation. but stuff like that, I just didn't even know like that's what people are looking for in a company, right? So yeah, but that being said though, I am held to a different standard because I am all these interesting factors too, right? But at the end of the day, I have to make decisions for a couple reasons. Number one, ethically, is that right? I have a fiduciary duty to hold up my shareholders. And lastly, does that sort of come to my own moral value set? So, it's all every day as a CEO is a new day, a new learning, and but I love the challenge of it.
Hey, thanks for watching. This segment is brought to us by Salesforce Platform. Visit salesforce.com/newsletter to discover timely insights and useful tips tailored to your role. Subscribe to this channel and get more great IT and tech interviews with top industry leaders.